going on, fellas? It's 2026. It's the new year. It's not a new me. Now that's deep. I mean, who else is coming up with shit like that? But no, let me just get into it here. Here to talk about creativity, artistry, masculinity, romanticism. Just some of my progress in recent times as far as the way I think about life and just the process of development as a person. I got very involved in conspiracy and noticing, realizing the world's a lie. The Jews run everything. You know, the billionaires, the elite class, they see us as cattle. They're trying to feminize men. They're trying to masculinize women. They're trying to swap the gender roles, feminism, etc. Blah, 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 all these red pills. I learned all this stuff. It set me on the path towards trying to become a man, trying to do things more traditionally, and kind of overcompensating, in all honesty. Making sure I'm not feminine, making sure I'm not sensitive, making sure I'm not soft. And that's all good, okay? I say that I was overcompensating. I'd say some of it was even coping. But that doesn't mean that I regret it or think that it was inherently wrong. I think it's just a stepping stone towards the final place you want to be in life. Especially nowadays, there is a conceited effort to try to make you softer, to try to make you like a woman. And you don't want to fall into that trap. But a lot of guys fall into this trap actually on a much deeper level in a much worse way because they don't recognize it. Their masculinity coping, they're overcompensating, trying to be hyper masculine. But their way of thinking is completely feminine. They think about life like a woman. They think about, is so-and-so looking at me right now? What are they thinking about? What do they think of me? Oh, I didn't like the way so-and-so said that at this particular time. They become these very insecure people. And that is a feminine trait. That's how women go about life. And that's why they need men who don't think like this, to buffer them, to it's a balance, the yin and the yang. When we both start thinking like that in these vain terms, and we both become so concerned about our public image and the way people are perceiving us, it becomes a problem. And that is the bigger danger, because it's obvious that you shouldn't dress like a woman and run around looking like a queer. You shouldn't be like overly sensitive and obsessed with, oh, I like flowers, and like trying to be like the hyper non-toxic masculinity guy. Basically the guy who sticks around a woman long enough and convinces her that he's one of the girls, he's like them. And then, ultimately it turns into like, why aren't you giving me pussy? I proved to you that I'm a good guy. You owe me pussy now, right? Those types, the male feminist type. You obviously don't want to be one of those either. But those are the caricatures that lead you towards, oh, I'm going to be a gym guy. I'm going to get huge and buff as possible. I'm going to grow a big beard. I'm just going to become this lumberjack cartoon character guy. There's no depth to that. You lose so much of the essence of life. It's a necessary step for young men to just build a bit of resilience, a bit of discipline, and a bit of strength. Hopefully develop kind of a frame, and then you move on. And that's where I'm at. I'm not saying I'm done working out, but I'm more of a holistic health type of guy now. And this leads me to a slight tangent that I do want to discuss, which is the internet thinking for you. And that's something I fell into extremely hard. And I want to buffer everything I'm saying right now with the acknowledgement that there is a cultural shift happening on the internet with the the videos and the content being pushed towards young men, away from the red pill and towards the black pill. If we want to simplify things, we'll say the red pill means get rich, get buff, get a lot of women. Black pill means all that matters is actually looks, maximize your looks, and then you will get woman. Then you will get woman. Then you will get attention from women. And essentially, all that matters is genetics. You just have to try to make the most of your genetics. That's all that matters. Neither one is correct. However, the black pill is bringing some new truths to light. And one of those is that the gym is ultimately a cope and an overcompensation for not feeling like a man. So I am being influenced by both of these cultures in the way I'm speaking, but I am going to make a staunch resolution for this year and all years following that the internet no longer can think for me. You get deceived when you first get red pilled. You get deceived because you think you're finding sort of a neutral party who is there just to tell you the truth. But the only one who's here only to tell you the truth is Jesus Christ. That is the one embodiment of truth. Everyone else has an agenda. Even if they're saying the right things, they're on the right side. Oh yeah, this guy's legit. He's talking about red pill stuff, whatever. I don't want to list everything. But you get deceived into thinking like, oh, I like this guy. Oh, he talks about real shit. Oh, this guy's legit. You allow him in so much. You listen to so much of this same person or these same people speaking. And you might have your disagreements. You might not consciously be like, oh yeah, I want to be just like them. But subconsciously, they're having a lot of influence. You have these voices in your head controlling you. And they are there to profit off you. Even if their intentions are relatively good, if they're an influencer, if they're an internet personality, they are trying to influence you and profit off that influence. That is by nature. So just because they are not part of the elite class does not mean they are not brainwashing you. And that's something I needed a wake-up call about. Back to what I was saying. I'm more of a holistic health leaning type of person now. I want to do resistance training. I want to do functional training. I want to build athleticism. Sure, have an aesthetic physique. That's nice. Have some strength. Be physically capable. Learn to fight. I'm still with all that. That's kind of red pill stuff, but I don't think it's bad when it's in its proper place. But I'm done obsessing about it. I'm done making it my main focus. And the crux of what I'm about to say, this is the real important thing, is I want to get back to thinking like an artist. I want to get back to remembering that life itself is art. That's something I learned after I found God. But I had an intuitive sense of it as a child. I just didn't realize. I was kind of a nihilistic child, and I saw life as kind of meaningless, but I found the meaning in art. I loved to make things. I loved being creative, and it was just part of my essence as a person. It didn't even have to be, it was not even intentional. It's just what I liked to do. I would draw, I would try painting, I would try sculpting. I got into making YouTube videos and claymation and animations on a tablet and anything I could get my hands on. I wanted to try it. I wanted to be an artist. And it was just, it was ingrained in me from a young age by my family that it's something I could do, that I had a talent for it. And I was like, okay, this is my thing. This is life. This is all I care about. I lost track of that in this pursuit of being right, being masculine, being righteous. All good things. But life is art. Creation is why we exist. We are a creation by the greatest artist, God himself. And he imbued in us this need, this desire to create, to beautify, to decorate, to make life worth living. That's what makes life worth living. Excellent quote from Good Will Hunting. It's something to that effect. Being a doctor, being a lawyer, being a construction worker, whatever it might be. Noble pursuits, necessary for life. But beauty, poetry, the arts, romance, love. This is why we stay alive. And you need both. We can't have pure utility. We can't have pure aesthetic. You need both. Participating in the fasts of the Orthodox Church, every time I get back into that mindset, I become stressed. I become a little more irritable. My stomach gets messed up because my diet is just not the same. And frankly, it's less healthy, I do think. I will admit that one of my mental struggles with orthodoxy is that when I fast, I just know I'm not eating nearly as healthy as I usually do. My diet is way more dialed in when I'm not fasting. But it's not about fixing your health. It's about fixing your spirit. And it's about crucifying the flesh. And when I do that, every time my creativity comes back, my wonder returns in some small degree. I won't go so far as to say I feel like a kid again, but like that divine spark of the desire to create and to just, the finer things in life, I gain a better appreciation for them. I feel like I want to draw again. I feel like I want to write things. I feel like creation, I feel that urge coming back. And when I'm so, dead set on like maximizing my testosterone and trying to be as primal and physical of a severe beast as I can be, that drive is there less. It's kind of in the back. And I might still be consciously saying like, oh yeah, I got to make sure I draw because I want to be good at drawing. And oh yeah, I got to make sure I write this YouTube video because I want to be a good YouTuber or whatever. I want to build a presence on the internet. You think more in utilitarian terms, more like strategy, more like chess. Again, nothing wrong with that. Masculine virtues, strategizing, making a plan, trying to conquer the world. Great things. Actually kind of creative in essence as well. But it's part of my character. It's part of who I believe God made me to be, is that I have an artistic view of the world. I see things through that lens. It's part of my calling. And I don't want to lose that. So one of the changes I'm going to be making in this year is, first of all, like I said, reclaiming my mental autonomy and free thought, unplugging from internet subcultures, not letting others think for me, and tapping back into that artistic drive, trying to create beauty, trying to make things that I would want my kids to have, trying to make things explicitly for my kids. I really want to make a children's book that I would want to read to my kids, and it would be amazing to have your father read you a book that he made for you, about you, or, in some sense about you. So yeah, these are my thoughts, and I just want to encourage any of you out there who are in the kind of like manosphere zone of thinking, self-improvement, all those sorts of things. Just remember, you think you're a free thinker because you listen. The camera just died, but I'm almost done, so just bear with me. I'll put some B-roll over this. You think you are a free thinker because you listen to free thinkers. You think that you have the system beat because you listen to people who talk about beating the system. But you don't. You're still plugged in. You're still in the matrix. You just might be in kind of this little alternative sphere. You're in this small space that kind of, it makes you feel more comfortable with the reality that things are the way they are, because hey, at least I know about it, and at least I can relate to these other people who know about it. But if you want to defeat it, if you want to be free from it, you have to unplug, and you have to take it to the fullest extent. I still have the plan that I want to be living on a homestead, self-sufficiently, producing my own food, and to the greatest extent I can, having freedom from this culture, being fully divested from all of it, and living on my own terms. And we can all do that. We can all achieve this. It just is going to take a commitment to being radically free in our thinking. And that means the only gospel is the gospel. Okay, anything you hear on the internet, you can like it, you can think, this guy's spitting right now. But you have to temper that, and you have to limit your intake. Even if you're consciously watching with a very skeptical lens, and you're constantly reminding yourself, like, yeah, I kind of like some of what he says, but some of it I don't. You're always going to have that subconscious influence as long as you're consuming hours and hours of this content. You got to start cutting it out. Even the stuff that feels valuable is brainwashing you. And until you reclaim the silence that is really the energy and the flow and the harmony of life, and it's the times when you can hear and see and understand God, are the times when you're silent. And it's the hardest thing to do. It's the most painful thing to do. It's harder than the gym. It's harder than lifting 315 pounds. Is sitting in silence with your own thoughts and defeating them, taking them captive, and having true silence, and meditating on the righteousness of God and allowing Him into your heart. That's life. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for listening. God bless. Happy New Year. Let's get to it.